guys, we are Second Chance Ohana, and we are so excited to be part of this Spring Fling Challenge hosted by Sab's Rehabs. Sab, thanks for having us. And we are excited to turn this older secretary dresser into a little girl's dream that definitely makes you think of a floral garden. Wish us luck as we see what we can do with this piece. How many of you had some sort of secretary in your home growing up? My guess is the majority of you. Even I did. And it made perfect sense because these pieces were so functional. Most homes didn't have an office.
Nor a computer.
So true. And you needed a place for those bills, for the address book, for your stamps. Now we have computers and offices, and we just don't need these anymore. So, Mom, do you think we can find a way to make this undesirable secretary useful again?
Oh yeah, I think we can really make this sweet and pretty and every little girl's dream come true.
Yeah, we have this vision of turning this into a beautiful piece for a little girl's room, a piece that can hold their clothes as a dresser, but also use this desk area for their arts and crafts, little places to hold their trinkets and toys. And I know some girl is going to be so excited to have this in her room soon.
All right, let's get this puppy clean. Today I'm using a TSP alternative. It's called Durtex, and I really want to get this thoroughly clean because it's been sitting in the corner gathering dust for years. But this stuff works like a charm. The directions say you don't even have to rinse it, but we always do.
It is prep day, so we need to take this all apart and let's get sanding, Mom. We got a lot to do to deal with all that peeling.
Yahoo! Love the sanding.
She's not kidding. She really does love sanding. Guys, check out this little drill I'm using. It's tiny, battery operated, and was only $20. And I tell you, that thing has come in handy, especially doing hardware with drawers. So if you need this in your life, we have a link down below.
I got so tired of going to her house and having to change out the drills and the drivers in her regular drill motor.
That's true. I feel like we're much more efficient now when we both need to be drilling things to have one of each, and so we don't have to go back and forth.
This piece is about 80 years old, and it definitely has some cracks in the wood. And all of these cracks are pretty tiny, so I just took a little piece of paper and put some wood glue on it and just tried to get it in those little cracks, and then we clamped them tight. It worked pretty well.
There are a handful of these chips in the finish all around this piece. So we're going to use a 120 grit to smooth out those chips and to have it blend in to the rest of the finish. And we're not sanding down to bare wood here because we're going to be covering her entirely in paint. So we just need to do a scuff sand with a 180 grit and then fill in any little gouges that we come across. And then we're going to be ready to go. Prep day is going to be fairly easy today. As you can see, Barkley is very interested though in what's going on.
Oh, Barkley. You know, this piece is in pretty good condition overall for being 80 years old, but it has, a lot of little shallow dents and scrapes and scratches that we're not sanding out. So we are going to use the Red Devil Spackle. It's our new favorite thing to use on anything that is going to get painted.
My mom mentioned that this piece has been sitting in a corner for years. What's funny about it is it wasn't even holding anything. It was literally sitting in a corner collecting dust, and there was nothing inside because
the drawers didn't work. They wouldn't slide.
They didn't slide. They were stuck. And so I'm not sure why, but look at the bottom. It looks like they had gouged it out to make it because it didn't fit in the first place. And I think wood expands over the years, so all we needed to do was give the bottom a thorough sand on the inside of the glide and also the outsides, and now it glides like a dream.
Oh my gosh, you would think I would have figured that out before now.
These are the only pieces of metal hardware on this entire piece, but they definitely need a shine. So we're just going to make our hardware soup with half vinegar, half water, bring it to a boil, and let those pieces boil for 20 to 30 minutes, and then just give them a good scrub. On any piece that we've done this hardware soup for that's at least 60 years old, the pieces always start peeling when I take them out. And what that is, it's the varnish that it kind of solidified over the years, and it peels right off, leaving me with a beautiful brass piece of hardware. And I'm just gonna give this a quick shine with a little bit of powdered Barkeeper's Friend, scrub it with a brush, rinse it off, and finish it up.
Drum roll, please. And now for the color we chose. Yay! Pretty in pink. But we didn't have quite enough of it. So here we're using Fusion in the color Rosewater. And we're doing a custom blend. We're also using some shell. Is it shell?
I think it's called Shell White from Sherwin Williams.
In their enamel. And we're adding a bit of red acrylic.
Don't judge us. It works great, I promise. And we'll be top coating it anyway.
Yeah. Just adds a little punch of pink to it. Punches it up.
I think the reason I'm so in love with this piece, it's just so nostalgic. My mom reminded me that I actually had this exact color in my room growing up for a few years before things went all black. And, I miss this stage with my kids. We adopted our 3 kiddos when they were 9, 10, and 12. And by the time they moved in, they were adamant that they were not little kids. So we never got to do the pink and the girly and the dress up and the dance lessons. And so this is kind of how I fulfilled that desire, because I really, missed out on that opportunity. But that's okay. But anyway, thanks for letting me share a little part of our story. I'm so glad that you guys are here and that you're watching. I get to do this full time now, which is incredible because that means I get to be home for my adopted teenagers and all the time now, whenever they need me. And you guys subscribing and liking these videos and commenting is what allows me to do that. And we are just so grateful that you're here. Okay, I know we're not the first furniture flippers to do an Anthropologie Enchantment dupe, but we've always wanted to, and we think it's going to be so pretty for this Spring Fling project and covered in pink paint. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. So we're using this redesigned by Prima mold and Botanist floral, and we're going to be making a ton, and I mean a ton,
Yes.
of these floral molds for our furniture piece. We always start by putting cornstarch in each of the mold areas so that they pop out really easily, and then just fill your mold with the paper clay. You can either pull it out right away while it's still wet, or sometimes if I have somewhere to go, I'll just leave them in and pull them out later that day. And
How long did it take
I know,
you?
I was like, I can't even estimate how long it took me, because I would do like one tray at a time while I was talking to my kids or while someone was making food in the kitchen, and then other times while we were watching TV. So it's a pretty mindless task, which is actually kind of nice and feels very therapeutic and arts and craftsy. But if I was in a hurry, this would not be the right project. So I'd been working on this for the previous 2 weeks, and now they're all ready to slap on this dresser. All right, we have prepped the piece, and I have spent the last 2 weeks making all these little molds.
They are so cool.
They are. I know that doesn't look like 2 weeks worth, but it is, so just go with me.
All right.
So now we need to attach them to give this a total girly makeover. Where do we want to put them? I have ideas, but
okay.
what do you think?
Well, I don't know, but I think we got a little. Okay. All right. But I was thinking, you know, kind of along the drawers and kind of around the corner, just everywhere in a cool flowing pattern.
Okay, that does not help me. Just everywhere in a cool flowy pattern.
Well, let's just start gluing them
Well,
on. And
let's
see.
let's make a plan. I'm thinking, like, maybe it starts on this piece and kind of comes around like that. Does that sound good? Like a vine growing, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Okay, so not
Yeah.
everywhere.
She's the perfectionist. I just go with the flow.
It'll look great. Although we've never done this before, but it'll look great. So to fill in these flowers and that line layout design I'm going for, I wanted to start by placing all the large flowers first, just to kind of evenly space them out and then fill in along those. To attach these, we really just poured a little bit of wood glue in a jar and are using paintbrushes to put the wood glue on the backs of these and slapping them on right where we want them. But on the sides, because they are too wet to stay by themselves, we're just using a little bit of tape to keep them in place while they dry, and then we'll be able to remove this tape later. Once we had the line pretty much in place, we still had a lot of pieces left, and I was not going to let all those hard hours of work go to waste. So we just started filling in and making that line thicker and thicker. Oh, I love how it turned out. Mom?
I'm obsessed. All right, and we're going to apply the primer today with the Fuji sprayer.
Fuji.
Yes, it's a Fuji sprayer. We love it. You have to get one. But no, I'm kidding. Anyways, we really wanted to do a quick spray with our primer, and we did feel it absolutely needed primer first because it's a darker wood, and we're going with a very light color.
And we had bare spots too, and you always want to cover those bare wood spots with primer before paint.
Yes, and so we are using a water-based primer today just because it's easier to use in a spray gun. Well, actually, it's easier to clean after using it. And this is the 123 Bullseye Primer by Zinsser.
Ink, you guys, you see what's happening? We've got bleed through. I didn't even know maple wood bled, but apparently some can. So unfortunately, our water-based primer isn't going to cut it. So we need to use a shellac primer. So we're going to use that Ben shellac primer and just roll it on in the areas that we're bleeding through, because we don't want to put it everywhere, and that's not necessary. So we're just going to roll and brush it on those spots where it's bleeding. And there was a lot of bleeding.
Yay! Love to prime twice.
Do you hear the sarcasm in her voice? Some of our molds were curling when they dried, and so I kind of had to break it when I attached it, but I don't want to see that crack in the flowers, so I'm just using a little bit of lightweight spackle to kind of fill in the tiny cracks.
It looks really good, Dani. Way to go.
She is being testy right now, you guys. I don't know how to deal with this.
I don't think you have to fill every teeny tiny little crack, but she does. And our things turn out really, really nice.
And
so
don't forget it. Don't forget it.
I know. Well, I guess our Ben shellac is getting a little thick, and it was really hard to put on smoothly. We did have to sand it down to make it smooth, as it was a little chunky.
Are we ready for pink now?
We're ready!
I love how the pink is turning out, and this is just coat 1. We ended up doing 3 coats of pink, and then we finished with a top coat of poly, just because there's going to be a lot of use and a lot of traffic on this piece, and we want to make sure this piece lasts for years for this little girl. We wanted to give these flowers a more three-dimensional look, so it looks like they're more carved wood pieces rather than just embellishments we've added on top. So we're using this white wax that Mom is just adding on, and then I'm using a dry brush and kind of pulling that excess off. Pretty easy, and we love the way it turned out. thank you guys again for being here. We hope you'll subscribe, that you'll like this video, and comment. Can you imagine this piece in your home or anything like it? Thank you so much, Sab, for letting us be a part of this Spring Fling Challenge. And if you guys haven't watched any of the other videos, click on the description below. We have the link to the whole playlist. So go check out all those other amazing artists. And aloha!